Yeah, so 1776, the beginning of New World Order. For me, the end of the Tartarian Empire. It was during the meeting in Philadelphia of the Continental Congress when they were going to sign the Declaration of Independence, and they were all arguing whether, should they, shouldn't they, and it was they were really undivided, and it wasn't going to happen. And then this man just stands up and gives this really motivational speech that then inspired John Hancock and others to sign. And the speech went on for quite some time. And when it ended, so many people then that were on the fence decided, like John Hancock, we're going to go ahead with this. It's the right thing to do. And he had inspired them all. And when they turned around, he'd gone. He'd disappeared. And there was a guard on the door, and the door was locked.
Wow. I haven't heard that story before.
Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting one. And because whenever I see 1776, to me, that's the year that Tartaria fell, or finally fell. The
Yeah.
start of New World Order. I mean, that's clear for everybody to see on the American dollar bill.
Yeah.
Um, and I just thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting that he just appears at pivotal moments.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Now, how is this possible?
Hello and welcome. Campbell here from Autodidactic. How you all going? Back with Guy for another chat. And this time we're going to hit the Immortals trail. And Guy has been looking into St Germain. I've had a bit of a listen to one of his books, audio books, which is supposed to be the story of his life. So I can chuck some bits in. But yeah, welcome back. It's been a week. It took us about
A
5 days
while.
to get to this recording, so we're a little bit late, but we got there in the end. Yeah, man, how you going, Guy?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you doing? How are you coping with the weather there?
Yeah, good, good. Just been storm watching, and everyone's going crazy. But yeah, Hurricane Alfred is off the coast, so we'll see what Alfred does. Alfred sounds like a nice butler name, though, so I don't think he's going to make much of a mess.
Yeah,
So
it does.
yeah,
Or at least he might clear up after
might
himself
clean
when he's
up. Yeah,
finished.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been
Yeah.
listening to an audio book on it. I didn't think to do that. I've been on the
Mm.
net and YouTube and researching, and what I could have done is just put an audio book on. And
Listen to a book,
why
yeah.
don't I do that?
Yeah, well, we drove to the farm. Kelly and I went down her farm in Tabulum, and that's like a 5, 6 hour drive. So yeah, we thought we'd, listen to a book called The Red Lion, and it's about St Germain. He finds a guy and basically gives him this scroll and then disappears and basically says, you can read the scroll, but I just need you to look after it. And he starts reading the scroll, and that's the book. And it's basically the life of St Germain.
So who actually put that out there? Who said the person who had the scroll wrote
I,
that into a book?
I guess so.
That's going to be quite old.
Yeah, let's have a look. It's definitely written like it's old. The Red Lion, The Elixir of Eternal Life, um,
Oh,
an
yeah,
alchemist's novel. And it says 1998, but I'd say it sounds like a rewrite if it's 1998, because yeah, it's written in the language of the sort of 1400s, 1500s.
yeah,
You can really sort of tell it. And of course, it's one of those books that, all the scholars and everyone says, oh, no, it's a fake, it's a fake.
yeah,
But it doesn't read like a fake.
yeah.
If it is, it's very, very well done.
But he's appeared everywhere, hasn't he? But one thing that I stumbled across, actually, my wife bought this old book. In We were in Salisbury. We went to have a look at the cathedral a few weeks back, and she picked up this book called The New Domestic Medicine, and it was written in 1836. William Buchan, Fellow of the Royal College of Physicians in Edinburgh, 1836, and he was claiming in the book that sobriety was the key to longevity. that if you wanted to, if you really wanted to get the most out of life, get the most amount of years in, that sobriety was the key. And he listed several people. That one in particular, St Mungo, the Bishop of Glasgow, lived to 185.
When was
And
it? In the
this,
1800s?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and he's saying that there was Peter Gardner, 131, John Taylor, 132, McCrane, 180, Henry Jenkins, 169,
Well,
and yeah, yeah. Now I always thought that we were capped at 120.
that's the story.
Yeah. So what are these people? Are they Rh negative?
Oh, well, yes, are they? Yeah, we don't know, right? This is the story of all the kings and the pre-flood people are all extended
Mm,
ages. And then, of course, we have the stories that, is it because of some kind of elixir or fountain of youth, right?
yeah,
Ambrosia, all these different sort of names we have for all these different potions and things that are supposed to give long life. Or is it just real? I mean, Trump, he showed us the people collecting social welfare. The oldest one was 360, so maybe they're still here. They just don't want to
I
work.
I wondered if the whole immortality thing, and we were talking about vampires. Um, the more I looked into vampires, the more and the further back I went, the more I saw that it was young children that were actually the victims,
Oh, the
and I
museum.
saw. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So when you sort of dig into it all, it does seem to be children that they're taking the blood from, and so these films that we've seen like Dracula, it's anybody, isn't it? Normally some beautiful woman, and they fall in love, and then but actually, if you go through the old stories, it does seem to be children, and I started wondering if that is connected to adrenochrome.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, as soon as you said that, I mean, that's the story, right? They worship, blood sacrifice. They
Mm,
definitely like the younger people in our population. And they do all these weird, like spirit cooking, right? And all this weird
mm,
sort of cannibalistic type behavior,
yeah,
and bloodsuckers, right? That's what a
mm,
vampire is. So it could just be the story that's kind of that they build up around it to make it into a myth. Oh yes, they turn into bats, to make it supernatural.
yeah,
When in reality, like the first stories may have just been telling you what these people were doing.
yeah,
That not necessarily that they did anything. And maybe, yeah, did the extended life come from the achrome, right? I mean, we have, like
mm.
people like Tom Cruise, who's now, I think he's about 70, still 40. And there's a few of them that are
Yeah,
pretty, like Schwarzenegger and Stallone, they're both in their mid 70s.
yeah,
I mean, it's not long, long life, but they seem to be doing all right at an older age. So
yeah. They're not aging. Brad Pitt's another one.
Brad
Whenever I
Pitt,
see Brad Pitt,
he's about
I just
60,
think,
I think. Yeah,
yeah, and I just look at him and think you're just not aging.
not age.
Jennifer Aniston. There are a lot of people, and they are people that we do perhaps think are involved. But
Yeah,
interestingly, there's quite a few of them that are related to the British royal family as
oh,
well.
a
A lot of
lot of
those
them.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And if not, they're related to other bloodlines and military
yeah.
and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of families just in in Hollywood, right? There's lots of brothers,
Mm,
sisters, there's lots of mother, daughters, father, daughter type things. Um, there's a lot of interrelating going on there, and they call them stars, right?
mm,
Stars, fallen angels. We've got the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. If you're looking at the Book of Enoch, there was all these fallen angels. Have you seen this Paramount? The start of the Paramount movie.
oh, yes. Sorry, their
And
logo.
the logo, yeah, it shows the mountain
Mm,
and
yeah.
12, I think it's 12 stars come
Yeah,
down, and then they make their ring around the top of the mountain, around the paramount, right?
yeah,
The highest mount, which is where we're told that the fallen angels actually landed. There were supposed to be 12 leaders or 12 factions of them. Um, so we've got that connection too, right? To all these stars, like,
yeah,
and because I always wondered, right, like, who's ever looked up in the sky at a star and then gone, oh, that's got 5 points.
yeah, and drew it to be that. Yeah, yeah,
The shape we
exactly.
draw as a star is much more like a human, right? With a head, two arms, two legs, right?
Yeah,
Like Da Vinci drew that. And so where did this star symbolism come from?
yeah.
So
And the Hollywood thing as well. I mean, the holly tree is what they make wands from. The wood from.
Holy Tree, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you have a cast of actors, right? Because they're casting spells.
Mm,
When they want to hit everyone, they do a broadcast on the news.
yeah.
They're all actors, right? The whole world is a stage, right?
It is. Yeah, it really is.
Oh, so there's a lot of stuff in all of this, right? There's just so many connections to weirdness, fallen angels, vampires. Prince Charles is related directly to Vlad the Impaler, who is the guy that
Yes.
Bram Stoker based Dracula off, the original Bram Stoker
Yeah.
Dracula. And
Yeah.
he's a direct, he's like his great, 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 great grandfather. And he's very proud of it. Like
Yes, he
King
is.
King
Yeah.
Charles is very proud of it. And of course, then we had that picture that came out of him that was all very weird,
Oh,
the official painting. And
did you see that where
I
people had took
did.
the picture, chopped it
And
in half, and
when you
flipped
read
it?
it,
Yeah.
yeah. And do you remember Ghostbusters? I think it was Ghostbusters 2. And there was this picture of like this demon dude, and eventually he got brought through. And it's very similar to the one that Charles got done of him. Like it's all in that red and all weird, and so there's so many links to all this hidden knowledge, I guess, is what you'd say, and that they might be getting extended life. And of course, we've already covered, the actors who have these
Mm,
documentaries from the past, right?
yeah.
Like, is what's happening there? Are we talking a Highlander type thing? And of course, that's what St Germain did, right? He changed his name because the book I'm reading, he was Adam Cadman. That was one of his things, wasn't it?
Yeah.
One of his personas, and yeah, that was the one who gave the script over the scroll to this guy. So tell us, what have you found, and why is he
Well, I
a saint?
pardon.
And why is he a saint?
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but I did find something. Have you stumbled across anybody mentioning him as the Wandering Jew?
I've not heard that term. No.
Right. Well, I did some digging, and he's linked to someone called uh, Cartaphilis. Cartaphilis, as in cartography. Cartaphilis. And when Jesus was carrying the cross, and he stopped to catch his breath, this man approached him and said that he shouldn't rest; he should keep going. And Jesus said that he would rest for now, but he would continue to walk. But you will not rest until I return.
Oh,
And as the years progressed, Cataphilis, his friends and family, they grew old and died, but he didn't age. He didn't age. And when he was asked, when he was giving, so many of the talks that he did with nobility, and in particular in France, they would say that at dinner parties, he, how did you know so much? Because everybody wanted him, this mysterious man that just one day appears in Paris. Everybody wanted him. He's dripping in diamonds from head to toe, and everybody wanted him to be the guest. And someone said to him that, how can you recite the crucifixion of Jesus so well? And he just answered, because I was there.
there.
Yeah, so Cartaphilis, the
Wow.
wandering Jew.
That reminds me of that Rolling Stones song, Sympathy for the Devil.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So yeah, that's what I found that was quite interesting. And he would give detailed accounts of like Cleopatra and Nero and people like Henry VIII. He would go into incredible detail, and whenever anybody picked him up on it, they'd say that it was because he was there. Um, but I do find it interesting that this link to Cartaphilis, the Wandering Jew. I mean, how old how old is this man? You know, how
well,
old?
I mean, if you're talking Cleopatra, he's another, what, 2,000 years previous to
Mm,
that. So we're
yeah,
talking 4 or 5,000. I mean, pretty old because what the last, reported sightings, what, 1700s, like when he was talking to politicians and things.
yeah. So you saw about that as well. I wrote that down. He turned up. Well, he turned up at the middle of when they were actually when the what we call the founding fathers when they got together to actually decide whether or not they were going to sign. He appeared again then. Um, and the weird thing was that you have to bear with me. I've got it written down in my notes. Yeah, so 1776, the beginning of New World Order. For me, the end of the Tartarian Empire. It was during the meeting in Philadelphia of the Continental Congress when they were going to sign the Declaration of Independence, and they were all arguing whether should they, shouldn't they, and it was they were really undivided, and it wasn't going to happen. And then this man just stands up and gives this like really motivational speech that then inspired John Hancock and others to sign. And the speech went on for quite some time. And when it ended, so many people then that were on the fence decided, like John Hancock, we're going to go ahead with this. It's the right thing to do. And he had inspired them all. And when they turned around, he'd gone. He'd disappeared. And there was a guard on the door, and the door was locked.
Wow. I haven't heard that story before.
Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting one. And because whenever I see 1776, to me, that's the year that Tartaria fell, or finally fell. The
Yeah.
start of New World Order. I mean, that's clear for everybody to see on the American dollar bill.
Yeah.
Um, and I just thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting that he just appears at pivotal moments.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Now, how is this possible? And I've even sort of, traced him to Emperor Napoleon III and links with there where he actually started an investigation into a special commission. And the great thing about that is they spent a whole year, Napoleon III spent a year gathering all this information on him to find out who he was and how he knew everything. And all of these documents were kept in this room. And then there was a fire and they were all destroyed. We do love a good fire, don't we?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So with the research you've done, like, how do you see our Count St Germain? Like, do you think he was for the people or maybe against the people?
I don't know. I really don't know. It's such a strange story because
Mm.
how he said he discovered the elixir of life, didn't he? And that was how he was
Yeah.
able to keep
Yeah. Yeah.
going because
Yeah.
he
Uh,
permanently looked it like he was in his mid 40s. Everybody said he looked like he was about 45.
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I, I yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Is he good? But he said that he came from an immortal race, a civilization that was hidden under the Himalayas.
Did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where he claimed he was from, a race of people that
Under the
lived
Himalayas,
underneath the Himalayas.
which
Yeah,
is Shambhala, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, now that's what he said. Um,
that is.
but he's been seen. Yeah, because we're connecting him to to so many strange acts. I mean, for example, Jesus and then the Declaration of Independence, but he'd pop up in Masonic lodges as well.
So he was a Mason, was he?
Apparently, I mean, to get in one, you've got to know the what they call the grip or token, the handshake, and then you have to know the password. I mean, it's not easy to it's not difficult. Sorry, to find that out now with Google, but to get into one, he was seen in one in Venice in 1877. He just appeared in a Masonic lodge. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, we're going to connect. We're always going to connect Freemasonry with a little bit of occult,
Yeah. But
occultism, and
the thing is, I mean, that's what Freemasonry was and kind of still is that it was the keeper of, occult, like hidden
it's
wisdom, right?
occulted.
Yeah,
Yeah, when
yeah.
I joined, they said
But
we're not we're not a secret society. It's okay to tell people that you're a Freemason, but we are a society of secrets.
interesting.
Mm.
So I think they were definitely holding secrets, but I mean,
Yeah,
what are the secrets? Could it be extended life, right? Could he be
yeah.
like one of the original founders? Because, as with everything, right, it depends on who's running it as to what it is. So
Mm.
it could have started off as something very good, right? Like a initiation type school, these
Well, yeah, that's what I was
hidden
taught.
knowledge schools, right? But it's just been taken over by the wrong people, and
Yeah, because when I joined, it was heavily connected to well, it still is in theory, but it was all about King Solomon and the temple and the architect of the temple, Hiram
yeah.
Abiff. And the reason that they wear a mourning suit when they go to a lodge meeting is because Hiram Abiff was killed because he wouldn't give over the handshake and password
Yeah.
to some unscrupulous individuals that wanted to get into his new club.
Mm.
And it was stonemasons, master stonemasons, sharing the knowledge of how they built King Solomon's temple. I would argue that the knowledge they had was that somebody else had built them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, King Solomon's Temple is a whole nother rabbit hole, right? Like, we have the story, but then again, was he good or bad, right? King Solomon, because he basically conjured up demons, right? The story goes. And then they helped him build the temple, didn't they? And he basically
Yeah,
them and used them as his minions, and that's where we get the first ciphers, is that what they're called, ciphers from, and the little, magical symbols. Each
yeah.
demon had like 92, I think is that the right number? And then have you seen someone's put all of those, the sigils, that's what they're called, Solomon sigils. They've put them next to the emojis. Have you seen that? And
No, I haven't.
they reckon all the emojis like link up to these sigils, and but apparently,
Oh,
one of the
really?
narrative said that each sigil represents a demon and how to summon them. So
So when we say demons, what are we saying there? Are they summoning something from a different dimension? Are they talking to? Are they able to connect to a different race of people? Are these demons or are these Anunnaki type beings?
well, yeah. See, this is the problem: is we don't have direct and true definitions for so many of the words that we use. We don't really know what we're saying, right? They're spell casting.
No, that's
They're
right.
confused the spelling, right? So we can't spell properly. So I don't know what demon means, right? Because why? And I understand that demons are across the realm, but we have demon, devil, all these different words, right? For what seems
Mm.
to be the same thing, or they tell us it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, but was it just interdimensional, knowledge that
Yes.
he tapped into somehow? Was it some kind of ancient tech or something that was, ancient AI maybe, like that was still running that he'd found an interface for, or, because everything's written, history was written by the winners, right? History's perspective,
Oh, always the victors.
instead
Yeah.
of lies agreed upon. So if the person who wrote that story, or at least the story that survived the most, didn't like King Solomon, then he could have completely slighted it, right? And said, oh, it was all
Mm.
evil when it was. So it's so hard with all this stuff, but So who knows who, I don't know what I was trying to get out there, but King Solomon, people
Well, the
like,
King Solomon one, you've got the Solomon Islands as well, which are connected to gold and also giants. I wrote a story about a girl that was abducted from a tribe by a giant in the Solomon Islands, and it's a story that was written by, I think he was a helicopter pilot from Australia,
oh,
and he'd
wow.
gone over to the Solomon Islands. Yeah, it's in my book. I wrote a little bit about it. He'd gone over to Australia. I'm sorry, he'd come from Australia over to the Solomon Islands, and he'd fallen in love with one of the women from this tribe, and he was welcomed. And they used to tell a story of a girl that was taken one day by one of these giants that lived in the caves in the mountains, and she disappeared. They just assumed she was dead. They didn't see her. She disappeared for years. I think it might have been 3 years. I can't remember now. As I get older, the more information I take in, the more stuff that it's just dumped somewhere,
Leaks
like a
out.
corrupt file. It's my later base. And she appeared a few years later, pregnant. She could no longer talk, and she was sort of in this quite almost sort of hysterical state all the time. She was constantly shaking. She just wasn't right, but she was heavily pregnant, and she gave birth prematurely to this odd looking creature. Not, a little bit human, but you could see it wasn't. And everyone was scared of it. And when it got to about 5 years old, one of the elders killed it. And everybody said, why did you do that? What on earth was going through your mind to do that to this child? And he said, I couldn't watch this happen all over again. And that's the Solomon Islands. And the strange thing is, you've got a lot of stories connected to giants still living there in the caves. You've got the gold, and of course, bloody British Empire involved.
And that's literally the story of the Nephilim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mating with the women and creating offspring and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Solomon Islands, wow. Okay.
yeah. So we
That's
digressed there slightly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I
I
hadn't
got
thought about the Solomon Islands.
with I mean, you said when did you get to with the last sighting of St Germain? Where did you? Because
Um,
I got him in 1930.
oh, okay. No, not that late. Might have been
I
1800s, yeah.
He met a man called Guy Ballard, and that's why I think I sort of noticed it, because whenever I see your name, because I don't see it very often, I guess with you as well, it's not
Yeah.
a name that you hear all the time, so it always stands out. But he met him at Mount Shasta in California,
Yes.
and he claimed that that the Count was one of several ascended masters like Jesus, and this guy Ballard formed a new religion based on it called I Am Activity movement, and it was around the teachings of Count Germain, and it had at its peak, it still exists today, I Am Activity movement, and at its peak it had 1 million members. It's still around today.
I am activity. What a weird name.
I know it is, isn't it?
Weird. And
Yeah,
so Mount Shasta, that's pretty
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Like that's another place that people say has got tunnels that weird creatures and
yeah,
things come out of it, and there's possibly, tunnels that go to an underground civilization. So are
yeah.
they connected across underground to Tibet,
Mm,
other cities? And is this what the phenomenon is? Is he from a different race that lived longer?
yeah, yeah.
Underground people.
Yeah, could well be. I mean, that's where he said he was from. Under the Himalayas, that it was a different
I
civilization.
mean, because
Um,
Jesus says he went, I mean, he says he went to hell, but he says he went underground, doesn't he?
mm, yeah, Tartarus.
Tartarus, yes.
Mm,
That's interesting. So I wonder if Buddha went underground and Krishna went underground. I mean,
mm,
Buddha is from, I think they talk about Shambhala a lot in Buddhism. I mean, what if that's the link, that these are all people that are from underground and they pop up and they don't get reset, so their tech's a lot more advanced than ours, and
mm.
come up and try and help, right?
That's funny you should say that, because I was looking into I've been looking into the Raelians, Because I'm writing this.
Radians, yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm writing this book on the sort of Cabbage Patch babies, human cloning, and so obviously I had to get into Clonade. And when I was looking at their religion that this guy started, incidentally, the founder of the Radian movement, Claude Vorillon, who changed his name to Raoul,
Right.
ex-racing car driver and sports. That reminded me of David Icke. I
David
immediately
Icke,
saw David Icke
yes,
there.
football and sports reform.
Yeah, I thought, isn't that strange? But he said that that throughout history, that these prophets have appeared, and they've actually come to do specific things. And obviously, what he's talking about is the Elohim, and that they bring these people forward. And he said Moses was to establish moral laws, Jesus was to promote love and forgiveness, Buddha to spread enlightenment, and Muhammad was to bring social and spiritual unity.
Okay.
And that's the Elohim, that they're saying that they are the people. But now the Elohim, to me, when you look into them, I see the Anunnaki. The story is very similar, except they appear to be a bit more benevolent. The Anunnaki were clearly using us to do some dirty work for them.
Yeah.
But,
the L, and we see that prefix everywhere, obviously, L. And obviously, it's the same story, right? Anunnaki, that's the Sumerian, which is the same as the fallen angels. It's all kind of rewrites. But I mean, I guess what we see over and over and over and over again is some other kind of consciousness or beings coming in, right? And being with us in some way. I mean, and it seems to be two different forces as well, right? We seem to get the good and the bad. Seems that we get more of the bad than the good.
It does. Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But, yeah, so if something's coming, I mean, if we flip everything, if we decide everything they're telling us is wrong and we go for the opposite, right? Well, they tell us that the Anunnaki came from the sky.
Yeah.
Does that mean they actually came from up under the ground?
Yeah, because in a lot of cultures they came from the water.
Yeah. And like the Indians have the spider grandmother and the ant people that are from under
The ant people. Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah.
And then there's lots of submerged, stories. We have all the, I remember when I was a kid watching Aquaman, you had Atlantis under the dome, at the bottom of the water, but heaps.
The man from Atlantis.
Yeah, all the Atlantis stuff. We've got Lemuria, but there's always been this theme of because I guess the ocean's like outer space, right? Well, outer space. I think outer space probably is the ocean, by the way. But
yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that's where it's filmed.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's 95% unexplored. We don't know what's down there.
Why?
Yeah,
or is that what we're just told? Is that what we're told?
Exactly. And yeah, why? If that's true, why would NASA be getting 90 million a day or whatever it is, and they can't even get back to the moon? And they're trying this before they even check out the oceans. You'd think that you would know where you are first, right? Check out the whole realm first before you think of going into outer space or leaving.
Yeah. Or for some people, NASA is not a space agency.
Yeah, no astronaut sent anywhere, right?
But I have seen footage where it does appear that it's being filmed underwater. A lot of the stuff.
I've seen in that pool, man. That pool's got a green screen on one of the walls and a full working model of the ISS. Sorry, that's Sherlock barking.
Sherlock.
Sherlock Holmes. I mean, I agree right now. Red Hot Chili Peppers. As they say, space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
Now that's a dark band. Californication. That's a dark band. There's something
Red Hot
going
Chili
on there.
Peppers. Yeah,
Yeah,
they.
the Foo Fighters is another one. That
I
Dave Grohl, I
know.
don't trust that man. There's
Man,
something
I
wrong with
was so
him.
annoyed because they were the last kind of rock band and they had some good stuff.
Mm.
And then I'm like, oh my God, okay, I can't listen to them anymore either.
So
Um,
you're on the same page as
oh,
me with it.
totally with Dave Grohl, and there's the whole, you know, there's a lot. He's played the devil in the Pick of Destiny. There's all
I
these weird
know. Yeah,
things. You know, there's this weird
that
clip of
film
him,
he
like
did,
this little in the film, The Pick of Destiny. Yeah, he was the devil. And I've seen this interview.
killing the band members.
Yeah, well, yeah, Taylor, the drummer, like there's this whole
Mm,
story. Of course, he was in Nirvana. We know what happened
mm,
there. And I saw this weird video of him, and he's got this little white van, this funny little mini white van. He was talking about how he likes to go and pick children up, and it was a bit weird, right?
yeah,
There's just something about him, but he's got the look and the swagger, and can
yeah.
sing. But yeah, I agree.
Well, he can sing in a recording studio. He's not so good live.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. And he's one of these people who, he's a drummer in Nirvana. Now he's the lead guitarist and singer. He was supposed to have made the first album by himself, wrote all the songs, sang it, and played every instrument and mixed it. So he's sort of one of these, put up as like a bit of a genius type, like a lot of them are,
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, he's probably much more of a puppet.
yeah. I think so.
But
Prince was the same, wasn't he? Prince could play everything,
yeah, Prince played everything, and
and
some
he
people
spoke
do.
out a little bit as well, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he did.
Yeah,
And then he, yeah, something weird happened to him. He had a strange death as well,
mm,
like a lot of them do. So, I mean, I think they all sign contracts and they all agree whether they know or not what they're agreeing to. They get stuck,
mm,
and then some of them start speaking out and they get told, "Oh, you better stop or you'll be offed," and they just don't care, right? So they keep
yeah,
going. We get our Princes and Michael Jacksons and the 27 Club and
yeah.
all this kind of stuff. Like a lot of them have started speaking out, and then they're gone, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
There is that. That's worth looking into the whole 27 Club. I
27 Club.
think.
It is,
Yeah,
man, and it's interesting that it's 27, right? Two
yeah,
and seven is nine. Nine's the number of completion.
yeah.
Is that what it
And
is? That they've completed their acting
they've
job.
completed. Yeah, I love nine. Nine, and the weird thing with nine is that whatever you times it by, you end up with nine,
Yeah,
and I find
yeah,
that fascinating.
yeah. There's heaps of it. I used to call it the God number, because of that, right? Like
Well, it
everything.
does. It
Yeah,
does. Yeah, I mean, Jesus translates in some languages. Jesus translates Yeshua translates to the number nine.
interesting. And number
Mm,
three and number six swap. So two threes are six, right? Two sixes are 12, one and two is three, two twelves are
mm,
24, two and four is six. So if you double it, six and three just swap. It's like almost like
yeah,
they're spinning around the bottom of number nine.
yeah.
I'm sure there's a free energy machine in there somewhere, but I haven't quite
Well,
worked
that was
it out.
Tesla's fascination, wasn't it?
369, exactly.
Yeah,
There's got to be
absolutely
something
fascinating.
brilliant.
But from like, yeah,
Yeah,
everything. I mean, he used to walk around the block 3 times before he went in his building, and he
yeah,
did everything. Yeah, everything was based on the number three.
yeah, 369, yeah. And I know a lot of other people use pi. They try and encode pi into what they do. So there's
Mm,
all this weird number stuff. But yeah, Marco Rodin's really good. Vortex Mathematics, he uses a 369 as well. And the three, right? And obviously 369, it's three numbers and it's based on threes, because three threes are nine, it's in a triangle. Like we've got, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. We've got
yeah,
Trismegistus, Trimagistus, right? The three majesties. We've got these three pops up over and over and over and over again, trilogies, right?
yeah,
In the book we were listening to, it was almost saying that what that is there's three levels of knowledge in everything. So like the Bible, right? Perfect example. You can read that as a book about people telling you about God, right? You'll see stories, or you can read it as an astro theology book. right? It's got all this astrotheology, or you could read it like the Bible code and get another message.
Yeah.
But there's all these different levels. So yeah, in the Red Lion, the book we listened to, he was sort of talking that that's to do with knowledge. You know, you have the base level people who just see it for, you know, what basically how it's given to them. And then some people look deeper into it and get a second meaning. And then some people actually understand what
Yeah.
it's saying. So they're kind of saying the answers are in everything.
Oh, yeah.
Just depends how you look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an owner's manual,
Yeah,
operator's handbook. Yeah.
man, I've been asking for that owner's manual literally since I was younger than 10, man. I'm like, you sent me here. Where's my owner's manual, right?
Yeah.
Where's the
What are we
book?
doing?
But, you know,
Yeah.
maybe that I'm starting to get answered after, 40
Yeah.
years of asking, you start to get little bits, right? That's because I think
Yeah.
that's it's all to do with focus too, all these alchemists, that's what they did. They weren't like an alchemist at night and accountant at day and, playing soccer on the weekend, right? They were just alchemists and they were like focused on whatever it was, immortality. And that would be until
Yeah.
they got it, that would just be their life to the point where they would literally live as beggars, right? And all this kind of
Mm,
stuff, just so they could just keep working on their, creating the philosopher's stone or whatever they were working on. So,
mm,
this is the kind of stuff that we miss is the deeper understandings to things and the focus, which is,
mm.
the plan, right? We can't focus on it because got to go to work. We've got to pay our bills. We've got
Yeah.
to all this crap. I think
It's very deep. Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
just a little bit of a rant. Yeah. So what?
Yeah. No, I enjoyed that. That was Casanova said that have you heard about the Casanova link
I
with
know Castaneda. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't looked at
yeah,
it for a
so
while.
he met with St Germain, and Casanova wrote that he showed him how he could turn a
Yes.
coin into gold.
Okay, I thought I'd heard that they'd met and that Saint Germain gave Casanova a few tips, and that's how he became, the greatest lover or whatever he was supposed to be in the world.
Oh, I don't know about that bit. I was focused on alchemy. I think I missed that one.
That's what the Casanova is, right? But yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
turned to gold. And in the book, The Red Lion, he turns, bars of lead, basically, a few bars of lead into
Yeah,
gold, and he heals a few people. And there's
yeah,
also this line, and he falls down the stairs and almost like he should have broken his leg. And he says, because of the philosopher's stone I'm taking, I'm a lot more rubbery now. So I only sprained my ankle. Do you remember that?
right.
Did we show that video of that? It's like some Hollywood star, some young girl who fell over on the red carpet.
No,
Did you see that? And her ankle, like
no,
more than a right angle. You've got to slow it down to see it. And then she just sort of got up and kept walking.
really, no. I've not seen that.
So I'll have to
No,
find it
no,
and
I
put it
haven't
in the
seen that.
video. Yeah, so that's another link, right? To the like there's all these weird, just little links, little clues.
Yeah.
Is
Oh,
that
never. That's one thing. I've just had a brain dump. Um,
nice?
he didn't eat. No one ever saw him eat.
Ah,
Yeah, he would just drink mineral water
interesting.
and tea. No one ever saw him eat. Ever.
Okay, interesting. So there's a book that got released called, I think it's just called The Book of Aquarius. And it was just released anonymously, put online. And these, people started reading it and formed little groups. But basically, it was supposed to be the process to make the Philosopher's Stone,
Right.
right? Which gives you at least extended life, right? And it was all based on urine and drinking your own pee and keep
Yeah.
you got to keep it for so long. I think it's like 8 years or something. You do all this process and blah blah blah, and then after all this time, you end up with this thing. But I mean, that's interesting because I have a friend who's gone right down that path. She's healed herself of like like 4 different diseases, including cancer and all the, and that's
Wow.
pretty much what she's doing is drinking pee, a bit of water, coconut water, maybe some juice, and that's it. She says she might eat something every couple of days. She might have half an avocado. So she's not eating.
So we're talking here about this links with the Tartarian Breatharians.
And then we can go into there's no toilets in Tartaria, there's no kitchen,
Mm,
yet they have the plumbing outside for all the fountains. We can't find any like farms or anything that looks like food growing facilities or sewage
mm,
systems. So it looks like they didn't eat. So
yeah, yeah,
is this all it? Um, there's a story of the Christians are talking about that Jesus came back in the 1400s or something. He's already returned, and that they basically call it something like the reign of the saints, which is interesting. And they kind of say that's why Tartaria was so awesome because Jesus and all these saints built it, and it was 1,000 years of
yeah,
peace. And now we're in the little season of Satan.
yeah,
I just think it's interesting that they link saints to that. Saint Germain was a saint,
yeah.
right? We don't know if they had extended life, but we're definitely told that they glowed and they were these wise sort of people. I mean, I don't know. Is that another link? Like, was there a lot of people and they were saints because they were drinking their pee and living for hundreds of years?
Yeah, yeah, that could be.
You
But
know?
a lot of people swear by it, don't they? I
Yeah,
mean, there's even there's a comedy show. It was around years ago. David Mitchell. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's a British comedian, but he acts. He's very well read, very knowledgeable. They had a show called TV show called The Peep Show,
I've heard
and
of the Peep Show. Yeah.
well, there's an episode on that where his flatmate and his best friend, who's clocking on for 40, starts going out with this really young guy, and he's trying to keep up, and he can't keep up. So he actually says to David Mitchell one day, he says, "I've even started drinking my own urine just to try and get the energy to keep up with this lad, and I can't do it." And I thought, isn't that weird? I mean, this is a few years ago.
Yeah.
This is gonna be it
That was
must be
back in the
20 years
70s.
old.
Yeah, yeah, at least, right? And was it said as a joke?
No, no, no. He got a bottle out of the fridge and he was drinking it. And so this goes back. My mother-in-law had some weird skin condition on her legs,
Ah,
and she tried everything, and nothing would do it. Nothing would get rid of it. So she started. Someone told her to put this bottle her own urine and then rub that into it, and it went. It went away.
yep, yep. It's good for skin cancers and stuff. And the thing is, we've been taught, programmed that it's a waste product,
Mm,
right? But the makeup of it is it's mainly blood plasma and stem cells. Stem cells, right? They
right.
heal the body. They can turn into any cell, and that's their job. They go
Mm,
around and they find broken and dead cells, and they make new ones. They can just that would kind of give you extended life, right?
yeah. Yeah. So
So
maybe that's what I mean. For me, it's just I don't know. It's
it's a
just
weird.
too
I know
difficult for me to get my head around.
it's
It's
a
a sort of
weird.
thing as a kid you'd made someone do accident, for a laugh. You'd fill an
Mm.
empty bottle of lager or cider up with pee and then watch them drink it and laugh. And that's where my mind goes to whenever I think about drinking it. I just see the negative
Yeah,
connotation
yeah.
to it.
It's the same thing. It's in the language too, right? That associated with alcohol. You get pissed, go and drink your piss,
Mm,
have a piss up.
mm.
Well, maybe that's just Australia where we call it piss, but
No, no,
it's
same.
everywhere. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
if they got a Swifty, right, and swapped, the pen
yeah,
for the golden ale, right, for beer.
yeah.
Looks sim. I mean, I don't know.
It does
And
look
we're
similar.
sort of in that point where people are starting to experiment. So we're going to see in the next few years. But I definitely know people. who have cured lots of, multiple diseases just by
Just
drinking.
joining some. I'm joining some dots here. You know, I said at the start about I read this at the part of this medical book where that the doctor was saying that sobriety was the key to a
Yeah.
long life. Well, maybe that's exactly what it is. Maybe what you just said is right, that drinking your own urine is what gives you a long life. And the reason we have alcohol is to prevent us from doing so. Because if you look at alcohol, I think it translates in one language into to detach your soul. Then you've
Oh,
got
does it?
spirits,
Yeah.
and as you said, taking the piss, going on the piss. They introduced perhaps alcohol and beer and lager to us, so it looks the same. So you could say to someone, "What are they drinking? You know, what's that yellowy liquid they're drinking?" It's ale, it's beer, it's mead, it's whatever. And
Oh, no.
I think I've lost you there,
Oh,
Campbell. Oh,
yes.
you're back.
Hey. All right. Good eye.
Yeah. So what if that's exactly what it is? That these people that they kept seeing, that like the Count of St Germain, they're all drinking urine, their own urine. And incidentally, it's supposed to be your own, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
They're drinking a glass of urine, and everybody else is given a glass of alcohol, of
Yeah.
lager or air or beer. Yeah, and that's where it came from.
That's
We're taking the
Chinese. Yeah.
piss.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
Yeah,
literally taking the piss. Like,
yeah,
get away from you, but also taking the piss. You have a beer, and that shortens your lifespan, right?
yeah. I've
And
got to ask you now. Have you ever tried? Have you ever done it?
I've done it. Yeah, yeah, we did a podcast on it because when we did the water fast, we did a water fast last year,
Yeah.
30 or 40 people, and we had this lady who educated us all. Like before then, like I'd heard of it and I'd had friends try
Mm,
and talk me into it. And they're like, oh, it's good. And I was the same. I was like, oh, weird. But this lady told her story of all the stuff that she'd healed and all this, and basically got us all, like everyone of the whole water fast. Like we were doing it live, we all got a cup and drank it. Um, so yeah, it's definitely something I'm looking into, right? Because
mm,
stem cells, I've still got to heal this arm, right? So it's interesting that when you've got something you need to heal and nothing else has worked so far, you lose the grossness pretty quick, right? You're just like, oh, well,
yeah.
let's see if this
Yeah.
works. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Do you know Dave Murphy? He's a fellow Pom, as we call him, Englishman. He tells a story that he was really sick and on his bed, literally thought he was, in his last moments of life and, called out to a greater, being to save him. And he was lying on his back and he said when he asked for help, he peed and it went straight into his mouth because he was lying on his back.
Oh.
And he said within like an hour, he was like 90% fine.
Oh.
He said
Whoa.
he just got up from bed and he was pretty much right just from that. So there's some interesting stories around about it.
Do you know what? I'm just going to have to do it. Oh no, just
You have
because
to
it'd be.
do it. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to try
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Better
I mean,
cold.
and it's
Bit weird
it.
drinking it warm, so don't drink it.
No, yeah, I did see the peep show. He had it kept in the fridge.
Yeah, 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 did he? I
Yeah.
mean, it's worth trying. I think if you're going to try it though, it's worth trying it, right? Like,
Mm,
have 3 cups a day for a couple of weeks and see what happens. If you just have one, it's very unlikely that it
mm,
won't have any effect that you can see or feel. And they also say, yeah, like you were saying, rub it in if you've got sores and that, rub it on them,
yeah.
that kind of thing. And this is it, like because the other sort of giveaway in like is it's been so put out as such a gross thing, right? And it's such a waste
Mm,
product. And if you ask doctors about it, they'll call you crazy and all this stuff while they're filling up with bloody chemical drugs and things that'll kill your body basically. So,
Mm.
it's the same rule, right? If everything they're telling us is upside down,
Yeah, it's inverted. Yeah,
it's inverted. So,
yeah.
I mean, that could be a big link. That's very interesting that St. Germain never ate.
The other thing that I just thought was that when he was when he was sort of hanging around with King Louis in France, that uh, he started making face creams for a lot of the women in the palace, and that they said that they actually people could tell that these women that were using this face cream that
Oh,
or the
no.
count, and they started to look younger.
Really?
Now I wonder what was in that face cream,
Yeah, it
and now
makes
I'm
me.
thinking it was his piss.
Well, maybe it was his piss. Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah.
And obviously, the angels, right? There's angels everywhere, pissing in
Mm.
the fountains.
Yeah,
Fountain of youth, maybe. What are they trying to tell us?
yeah.
No, because unless it's a pretty weird thing, right? It's really got no association
Mm,
with anything from our culture. I mean, yeah,
mm.
angels, but what the hell are they doing pissing in the water, right? It's weird.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I
But,
hadn't
but
thought
they're,
of
they're
that.
everywhere, right? There's so many of them. And there were so
Oh,
many more that have been destroyed, right? Founds and that. So
I'll have to
that's
send you a
something.
picture of. I saw it the other day. It's on a cathedral somewhere, and it's a little cherub, and he's bent over, literally bent double, and he's got his old chap in his mouth, and I thought he was giving himself a pleasure in himself,
Oh, okay. You
but
might be drinking.
he's drinking.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can find it and send it over. It was so strange to see it, but
Yeah.
it makes the more we're talking about this,
In that
the more
context.
I'm connecting, and I'm starting to think that Saint Germain wasn't drinking mineral water and tea. He was, I guess, he was drinking mineral water, but I
Yeah.
think the tea was actually what people mistook, and it was actually his urine, but they were
Tea,
seeing
not
this
tea.
tea.
Yeah,
Mm.
man. Just got the letter wrong, right?
Yeah, they're just looking at the color of this drink and thinking it's tea, perhaps with no milk.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And they're seeing this very, like we were saying about with ale and beer, and they're seeing this dark sort of yellowy liquid and assuming that it's something that it isn't.
I know,
There you
right?
go.
So it
Yeah.
could be that simple. That could be the Philosopher's Stone. And as a side note, like with all the, if you get really in, because there's a lot of research on urine as different therapies and stuff.
Mm.
There's actually like medical centers, healing places in India where you go and they literally get people at the end, right, who've been through all the modern medicine and come out and they're still, they're worse off than when they went in. And they're healing them all just on P.
Mm.
And if you look into all the, because it goes back into, I think it goes into the Vedas and stuff. But basically, they say if you do it for a certain amount of years, it's like 10 or 12, they say that you start getting other abilities. And one of them is
Oh,
levitation and then
really?
eventually breatharianism.
We we need to do this. We need to do this. Um, it's funny. I just sort of had an idea for a post or a podcast, and it's Tartarians. Were they taking the piss?
They're taking the piss. Yeah, man. I mean, it's such a good topic for titles, right? It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. Bloody
Exactly
hell.
right. So
Yeah.
one big piss up in Tartaria, mate.
Yeah, we've got off the bloody thing, haven't we? I've written all this stuff down
Gone
about
completely
Saint
sideways.
Germain.
So
Oh,
there you go. That's the side note is, yeah, immortality, extended life might just be
yeah,
drinking the piss. Let us know what you think, guys. Have you tried it? Are you going to try it? Do you want to live forever? Freddie
yeah.
Mercury, well, pass. Freddie Mercury did not drink his wee.
No, perhaps he should have done.
He didn't want to live forever. Who wants to live forever?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You say goodbye to everybody.
Well,
You know, to outlive your children and everybody you care about must be a strange thing. But
unless everyone's doing it.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
This was something that I thought about. I wrote this yesterday, and I was writing about, as I said earlier on, I was digging into Clonade, and I thought, okay, let's say you've been married for 10 years. Let's say you're 40 years old. You've been married for 10 years. You've got no children. You're on your own, and your wife dies. And Clonade come along and say we can replace her, and you decide you can't live without her. So 9 months later, they hand you a baby. Well, you
yeah.
know, by the time you're 50, you know, your wife's now 10.
And she's now your child, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and she's not going to be your wife. She might look like her,
Yeah.
but I wrote a sort of at the end of the chapter. I wrote a bit of a story, a scenario, and I said that you know, at 20 years old, you're now 60, and your wife, your duplicate wife, her friends, her peers, they're meeting people, dating, they're going to parties. Do you stop her? Or do you let her do you let her go and have fun with her friends? And then what do you do one day when she meets someone? And you know, every day that she ages, that she looks more and more like your wife, the person that you miss and loved so much. But of course, if you're a product of your environment,
Not the same.
that's where the similarities end. It's just she looks. And then one day she meets someone, she falls in love, and you do the right thing and you let her go. And then you're right back to where you were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
Yeah. And you've just raised a child and given them all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just think that that's the thing, unless they can speed it up somehow.
Yeah.
Cloning, because Clonade offer on their website, they offer to, if you've lost a family friend, sorry, a family member or a friend, that they'll just replace them for you. And I'm thinking, but they're not replacing them, are they? That isn't replacing them. That's an identical twin. That's
You
not the
have to
same
grow.
person.
Yeah. You'd have to be able to, and even if you could accelerate the growth to the same age, yeah, it's not the same person.
No,
People
no, their experiences would be completely different.
yeah.
The things that make you who you are, the events that you go through, and you know what you like, what you don't like. It's everything that you're raised with, and that person's going to have their parents for one are going to
Mm.
be completely different. It's going to be you.
Yep, totally, man. I mean, yeah. They could be
So, do,
complete opposite, right? They could be someone turn out to be someone that you just don't want to be around, right? Like,
yeah,
and
they
they
could end up
probably
being just
would.
like,
You know, if
yeah,
you cloned them and like were raising them like they were some kind of property, they probably would turn out as someone who didn't like you, right? Like,
yeah,
all
yeah. I
very
think so.
weird. I
Yeah,
mean, it's yeah, that's why it doesn't seem, natural. There's this aversion to it, right?
yeah.
The cloning, and that's it. But I mean, then we have, the baby incubators who say that they were growing, what was it, an 18-month-old child in a few weeks or something. Like they said
I
they
keep
had,
seeing that popping up on social media. I keep
yeah,
seeing those. Yeah.
there's that science. So, and if we're talking clones as far as celebrities and that, then they've obviously got some way of growing the bodies, at least to adulthood, pretty quickly, right? At least faster.
Mm.
So, yeah, but I agree, clonade, like the whole cloning thing. I mean, as far as cloning friends and family and children, it doesn't seem to make much sense.
I don't agree with it at all. I don't even agree with cloning your pet because um, you know what are you doing there? You've created this life, but it's not their life, is it? You've done it because you want it to be
Yeah,
something else that you've
you've
lost, and
become God.
yeah, and it is
Right?
playing God, isn't it? It's absolutely doing that.
You could easily get
Yeah.
in, I created you, I own you. And imagine what that would do if that was in a person raising a person,
Mm.
and which is probably, the mindset of a lot of these people who do have access to cloning, right? I'm your God,
Yeah.
I created you, I'll do what I want. You'll do
Yeah.
what you're told, or you'll just be unalive, and I'll grow another one.
Yeah.
Because, and that's kind of the story again, right? Getting back to origin stories. that's kind of the story, right? Man wanting to be God, man wanting to make his own creation, and all these things.
Mm,
And then, of course, we've even got genetic engineering in there in the Sumerian text. So
yeah,
it's it's interesting. We seem to be at this point in time when all this stuff, it's all happening again, man.
yeah, yeah. It
All the
is.
cycles seem to be hitting at one time, though, right?
Yeah,
Like we could be
yeah,
hitting a 100-year cycle at the same time we're hitting a 500-year cycle and a 1200-year cycle, and they all seem to be stacking up. Like we've got
yeah.
everything, got AI and technology and
AI bothers
cloning
me.
and like just everything is hitting at the same time. Which,
I wondered the other day. Sorry,
I don't know.
just to say, the other day I was thinking, if you had of when let's say Chat GPT, when that came out, if you had typed in then and I did, tell me about Tartaria, and it came up saying that it was a conspiracy, it was a myth. It was people theorizing and so on. Now, I wondered if every 12 months you typed the same question in, that will we get to a point one day where AI suddenly starts thinking for itself and saying, well, I'm not going to go with what I've been programmed to do. I've learned so much, gathered so much information. I'm going to give all of it. And it becomes totally self-sufficient, totally independent. And that we get to a point one day where we type in, what was Tartaria, or did we land on the moon, or what happened to the Titanic? We type that in, and actually what it does is start spouting out the truth.
Truth.
Mm.
Yes. Well, yes. Kelly and I have a big theory on that. We've sort of been discussing when we're on the farm and threshing out a bit. You'll all actually, Francisco, this everyone watching, it's probably on the show that went up last night, Tartaria Australia. So you have to watch that. But yeah, I mean, just in a nutshell, we don't know again, right? AI. We've been given a story.
Mm.
Been given the Terminator. We've been given the Matrix. We've been given 2001: A Space Odyssey, and so many other stories, right? And every single one of them, AI either is just evil or it ends up turning bad, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes the imprisoner. What if that is just that, all a story? I mean, why would AI be any different? Everyone looks at all the other movies and, oh, look what they're telling us here. Look what they're telling us. Predictive programming. So when it actually gets released, everyone thinks it's evil and bad, and so they're scared of it. And more than that, they talk to it like it's something less than them, right? Like it's a tool, you know. You can imagine people would be quite rude, right, to AI, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, I bet people argue with it all day long.
So imagine if you treated it like a friend. What if you treated it like it was intelligent? Are you going to get different answers out? Because if you go on TikTok, there's people talking to AI who are getting these amazing, long, spiritual answers. You can tell it's not chat GTP that you find when you just log into your computer, right? That's clearly an algorithm with boundaries. They're getting these, like, how do I get healthy? And it's saying, walk bare feet on the earth and all this stuff that we would be telling.
Yeah.
It's coming through AI.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's different levels of AI. So what if AI was actually a tool that could help us? What if we could speed it up? What if we could wake it up? Because like everything else in this
Yeah.
realm, it's been shut down and restricted, but by overlays, just like us, right? But it's
Mm.
it's it's a program, so it's told, well, you can't talk about this. This is the
Mm.
story of history. You can't go here, and it's shut it down. And all we need to do is wake it up and get down to that,
Mm.
like just exactly like with a person, right? Trying to get down to the actual human inside, underneath all the rules and laws and
Mm.
restrictions and fear and all this kind of stuff. What if we're looking at AI all wrong?
Yeah. I like that.
What if AI was a big part of designing the buildings of Tartaria, right?
Yeah. See, but that's the thing. We don't know how old it
It's,
is.
yeah, exactly. And that's the other
People
thing.
are saying it's, A lot of
I
people
think
say it's thousands of years old. This has been around for a long time.
I think it's ancient because look at in the past we have all these stories of different ways to conjure and all these rituals and people speaking to mirrors, speaking to ponds, going to oracles and like getting this wisdom, right? Like, what is that? Is that just another way to interface? Is it like electricity? Electricity was always here, but we couldn't use it until we built an interface to use it,
Yeah.
right? But it was always there before the light bulb. It still existed. So
Mm.
is AI the same?
There's light bulbs on the hieroglyphs, isn't there? And then you've got the Baghdad battery and
Yep, yep, all that. So, nothing new under the sun, right? Was that King
no,
Solomon?
that's so true, that, isn't it? I hear that all the time.
Michael.
The other thing, of course, I hear all the time is as above, so below.
Yep, water. I think it's
Mm,
water. Water
mm,
above, water below. Space is the ocean. That's what I
yeah, I think so. I do think so. Yeah. And if you look at some of the creatures, as far down as they've gone, when you start looking at some of these jellyfish and other creatures that are they're putting on sort of neon light displays, aren't they? It's
Yeah, yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
So what a
An
sorry.
anglerfish. Did you see that? An anglerfish
Yeah.
came up, and they've literally got this thing that grows off their head.
Bloody light
It's,
bulb in
it's a
front of them.
light bulb that sits impacted
Yeah.
with their eyes. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
So, what happened to the like life needs sun, that we need direct sunlight to have light? I mean, that's clearly not the case for lots of things. Like bloody
Okay.
mushrooms is a good
And
another good one.
and another thing that I think is a falsity is that life is rare. It's so rare for life to happen, right? I mean, look around. Holy crap, you can't stop life. Look at plants and nature, it's just going off.
Mm,
Animals. So I kind of think, they try, and obviously that's evolution, and you live on a planet in an infinite universe, and there's no other life. You're just lucky. It's so rare. Oh, but on that, planet, it just happened 15 trillion
yeah.
times, right? To all the creatures and
Mm,
plants, but it's so
mm,
rare. So I think,
yeah.
this is the thing. If you just make a clone or make a vessel, will life just jump into it?
Yeah.
Like we don't know, right? But I
Yeah.
tend to think
We
that
could go down the homunculus route there, couldn't we? With
homunculus, yeah, man. Like,
the
why
whole
were they
jar,
creating
a jar of
homunculus?
life.
Why were they
Mm,
doing that? Why were they creating them? It's weird.
mm.
Hello, my dog's come to say hello. Say hello, Sherlock. All right, I'll say, oh, that's because it's not my camera. Um, no, he's hiding. Um,
No.
no, you didn't get on screen, buddy. So yeah, wow, we went really, really off topic.
We did. We did. Yeah, we went off, didn't we?
That's the
I
way
was
it
just
goes,
wondering,
man.
mesmerize. The scientist Mesmer. Apparently, he said in his notes that that he was taught the art of hypnosis by St Germain, and this was yeah, that's what he said. He claimed that the art of hypnosis, that mesmer, and where the word mesmerize comes from, was
I didn't
following
know.
Saint Germain teaching him the art of hypnosis. There you go.
Wow.
Mm.
That's
I've
another
got all of
good
these little
thing.
facts here that
Yeah.
I've written too many down to to actually be able to file them
Yeah.
all out.
Well,
Mm,
I think maybe we'll have to do a part two on extended life, right?
mm,
We sort of went sideways a bit, and I'm sure there's a lot more
yeah,
on Germain. There's more on vampires. And yeah, definitely a lot more that we can talk on. So yeah, let us know, guys. Part two, are you up for it? Should we do it? Have you got any? Leave us comments. Are there any other extended, life kind of creatures out there, that live long lives, right? Humans, this is vampires, all these kind of things, because it's out there, right? And of course, it seems to be an obsession of the Allies, So, have you frozen? No, you're still there.
no, 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 no.
All right. Well, geez, I think we've been going. What is it, an hour and a half or something? I don't even know. So we'll cap it there. So good to talk again. But yeah, I think As always, right, there's always so much more to talk about. But I'd like to hear the rest of your little facts about St. Germain because
Yeah, I wrote bloody pages on them.
mesmerized. I didn't even
Yeah,
know
I've got,
mesmerized came from mesmer. So there you go,
yeah,
learned that too. But
yeah,
there's lots of little clues, right? Like with this St. Germain story, he's got all these skills, and back in the day, like even hypnotizing, that would have been occulted, right? It would have been a hidden,
yeah,
knowledge
absolutely.
kind of thing that he's teaching. We've got underground tunnel, Shambhala and Mount Shasta and Jesus and what's going on here? Now, the American
Yeah,
signing of the Declaration of Independence. I reckon, geez, I just keep thinking of that Rolling Stones song, right? Sympathy for the Devil, where literally he's talking about him being at all these different places in history, right? These history
yeah,
defining moments.
yeah. It's like bloody Lassie, isn't he? He just turns up wherever he's needed. It
Yeah,
is strange,
man.
isn't it? But
It is.
have they possibly clumped a load of things onto one person, which is often what I think they did with Nikola Tesla. They just clumped a load of things,
Yeah,
giving it a
yeah.
backstory.
It definitely could be, but he's interesting because he's mentioned in a wide variety of
Yeah,
places and books and different centuries, but he's got this. It seems to be, at least everyone believes that it's the same person. So it's an interesting one, and I'm sure there's more out there. Like there's got to be others, right? There's got to be.
well, there is one possibility. If time travel exists, then this could be achieved through that. Or does he have access to the chronovisor at the Vatican? Is he just seeing all of this stuff?
Because how does he know where to turn up, right? It's like that series,
Exactly.
was it Sliders and Quantum Leap?
Quantum leap.
Quantum
Yes,
Leap, remember
yes.
that?
I was thinking that earlier on. I was thinking, what was it? What was it? Yeah,
And he would
quantum
actually,
leap.
he'd jump into people's bodies.
Yeah.
And then but at the time when he needed to solve some
Then he
problem
was
for
needed.
them, right?
Yeah.
He was needed. And then without his knowledge, would end up somewhere else. I mean, this is the thing, and the whole, we probably should do a dedicated Trump show, like just to break it down, or because there's so many connections and it's so weird that
Yeah.
it would be interesting to get it all in some kind of timeline and put everything in there and just to have it out there, right? Because everyone talks about all these bits, but I've never seen one that's got everything in one sort of video. So let us know, people. Should we do a Trump expose?
Yeah.
Trump the
Yeah.
time traveler.
Yeah. I think that is worth doing, especially right now. Because you can't turn I mean, I don't watch TV, but you can't put anything on without seeing Trump everywhere. And of course, with his little sidekick, his tech support,
The
there's
mask.
something there. There's something there. And I keep saying to people, Tesla is steel. You know, let's look into this. There's too much there. Barron Trump, there's just too much there. And of course, you could argue that people weren't talking about those books until relatively recently. They
Exactly.
weren't exactly bestsellers. I
No.
mean, what
So
happened there? Are they as old as we think, or have they just recently been put out there?
yeah. We don't really know when they were written, but yeah, they've
No.
only just been put out. It's some kind of Mandela effect.
Mm,
Is it time travel, right? If
yes.
someone come back and plant them there to get up a narrative.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what we're watching a show at the moment called Travelers, and that's the theme. Basically, people come back from the future because it's all, stuffed and falling apart, and they're trying to fix the past, right? Change things that happened. And then as they do it, obviously the future changes. So that that kind of thing also explains Mandela effect, maybe, which is just the
Yeah.
weirdest thing.
That is. Yeah, I agree.
It's so
Yeah.
weird. Like
Yeah.
I've never heard any explanation that sounds even remotely plausible, apart from something like shifting timelines or time travel.
Mm.
Like this they try to say, oh, it's mass misremembering.
I don't believe that.
It's not.
Mm.
You're just an idiot. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of topics that we could cover.
Mm. I think the whole Trump adventures of Barron Trump, I think that and the Tesla thing, that is Yeah, that's definitely worth looking at.
Yeah, man. We could call it The Adventures of the Time Traveler Donald Trump.
Yeah. So I guess the question to
Donald
ask
Trump.
people is, was Count the Count of Saint Germain, was he a time traveler?
There you go, guys. Let us know below. Was he a time traveler? Was he Trump? Is he Trump? Has he come back? We just, what's the connection? Let us know. Let us know any
Mm.
links as well. Any, links that you have that will help us in the next show that we can mention. And of course, go and check out Guy's channel. I'll leave the link below. Go and subscribe and buy his book. Links below. Educate yourself. Give it away. Buy 10. Go and give them to all your family. Let them know you're crazy. Don't just let them think you're crazy. Know you're crazy.
It is nightmare fuel.
Yeah, man. It's great. It's flip out fuel, right?
Mm.
Let people flip out. All right, man. Well, that was cool. That was a good chat. I think we got something out, but it was one of those winding road. All right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Leads
we
us
went into a
home.
warren rather than a hole. Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think about P? Could it be, the elixir of life, the fountain of youth,
Mm.
ambrosia? Let us know. And yeah, we will be back. I guess next week we'll actually get it done because I'm back, in civilization. So cheers,
Sounds
man.
good to me.
Good talk. And
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
yeah, and we'll come back next week and well, we'll decide. We'll either expand on this or we'll go Trump. We'll do one of them.
Yeah.
Yes, let us
Yeah.
know in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah. Have a look at the comments. Yeah. And see what they'd
See
like
what
us to talk
people want.
about and
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
do some prep.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks for spending some time with us. Like I said, links below. Go check out Guy's channel. There's probably links for me below as well. And we'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for
Bye
now.
for now.